Alright, so let's talk about the Nikon ZFC. I have that with the 16 to 50 kit lens, and I had the Nikon Z50 in the past, and I'm just going to try to make this as short as I can. And I apologize for not having a gallery full of sample photos just yet, because my son's been in the hospital, and I won't go into details, but it's a serious situation and surgery involved, and like I said, I'm not going to get into all the details about that, but it's been over a month now, that process, and it's still ongoing, and probably he'll be back home towards the end of the week, I think this week, so within a week I hope. So that's been kind of the delay for getting this out, and just don't have a lot of pictures to show right now. But my Nikon Z50, it's the same image quality, same sensor, and same image processor that's in the ZFC, which I will get out here in just a second. And I'll put a link to that down below, and I'll put a link to the little soft case that I have for this, and also the aftermarket lens hood. But if you want to see a bunch of pictures from what this camera can do, you can look at my Z50 gallery, because it's the same image quality. So this is a JJC. I'm looking at the my phone here, because I have the Nikon Z5 recording this and watching it on my phone, so I just make sure that I'm in frame and showing what I want to show. So this is the JJC Neoprene kind of pouch. It's kind of a nicely padded pouch that I got for the I'm trying to put it in front of my face because I have face detection on, and it'll catch my face instead of focusing on this. But it's a really well padded and really nice pouch for getting the camera out of, and it's good for the 16 to 50 kit lens. I bought this actually for the Z50, but this works for the ZFC also. It has a little Velcro strap down here, little attachment, and then it just flips up, and you can see the camera in there, but you just kind of peel it right out of there or pop it out the back, whatever. But I'll put a link to that. I really love that. And this lens hood is also JJC. It is a LH-HN40P. Again, I'll put the description, or the link to this in the description down below. But the Z50, it's made out of magnesium mostly, from what I understand, and so it's very lightweight. The dials are actually made out of a solid piece of aluminum, from what I understand, from everything I've heard about this from Nikon and the information that came out before. But it's basically a Z50. There's no in-body image stabilization. It would be nice if it did have that. This is a collapsing lens, of course, so it extends when you can't take pictures until you extend it to the 16mm mark, and then that would be 50. So 16, 50, 16, and 50, and so I like the way the lens hood, kind of helps out a little bit with protection, and just I think generally makes it look better. But I do like it for a little protection. But with this, I don't like the way it looks without it. The EVF in these, a lot of people say, well, it's not very high resolution, but I mean, the optics Nikon uses in these, again with the Z5, Z7, all the other Z cameras I've used, it's really high quality optics in there, and the resolution is really nice. You can zoom in on pictures and see them, super clear. If it's in focus, you'll definitely be able to tell. Of course, this screen flips out and it turns around, towards the front. So vlogging, whatever, or just doing a recording of yourself, or taking pictures where you want to see, if you're not behind the camera and you want to put it on a tripod and go out and have other people in front of the camera plus yourself, and you can control it by the phone, which with the Nikon SnapBridge app, I think you can, with this one, gives you the option to have just a simple Bluetooth trigger to snap a picture. It'll focus and then take a picture, or you can just do the full-on Wi-Fi connection to the phone, where it's giving you a live view of what's going on in the camera. So I do wish it had in-body image stabilization, just like the Z50. I wish the Z50 did, but I understand the point of this camera, and to keep it small, and the lens is stabilized. But if you put something like a 35mm Z mount lens on there. You know, the lenses that we have now, the 1.8 from Nikon, that's not stabilized, so you don't have any stabilization at that point. So, I mean, I personally would prefer it just to be a little bit bigger and, you know, squeeze the IBIS in there, even if it's not, you know, really, you know, as good as the Z5, Z7 IBIS. Even if it was, you know, pretty good, you know, as effective maybe as what the lens can do, lens IS, that would be fine for me. But I do love the way it feels and the way it looks. It, you know, there's a really pretty camera. I replaced my Sony A6100 with this, and I hardly ever use that A6100. I just didn't like, you know, the kit lens. You know, it's okay, 16 to 50 kit lens on Sony, but it's a power zoom. I don't really like the power zoom too much. Optically, it's not really as good as this. Definitely not as good as this, the Nikon 16 to 50. And just overall, it made more sense to have this because of the Z mount lens, and I can share lenses. But image quality is, you know, it's great. You can look at my Z50 pictures and see that. But you know, I can't really find many compromises on this as far as the features and functions. It does have the newer autofocus modes that the Z6 II and Z7 II have. You know, with the larger box where you can limit the autofocus, the face and eye detect autofocus within that little box. You know, it's a larger box, but so that's really nice. And same thing for, you know, for people and for animals, cats and dogs. So that's nice. And you know, I can do simple things like assign this custom button on the front as specifically spot metering. So if I just hold it down, you know, it's spot metering temporarily as long as I'm holding it down. So in difficult lighting situations, I can spot meter on something, you know, and then take the shot and let go of it. Now it's back to matrix metering. So I like to do stuff like that. And I honestly would never really use these dials up here because I don't shoot that way. You know, I'm one of those aperture priority shooters, so I just leave an aperture priority here and then use the front dial for aperture and the rear dial for exposure compensation. And if you're not familiar with what Nikon calls the easy exposure compensation or whatever, if you set it into the C mode up here on the exposure compensation dial, you know, put it on C, and then you can change that function in the menu. Again, I can't remember, it's like easy exposure compensation or whatever. So you can change your exposure compensation. When you turn the camera off, it goes back to 0. It won't keep the setting, so it only keeps your setting for the exposure compensation when the camera's on. Turn it off, it'll reset it back to 0, which is really convenient. You don't have to keep checking it. This little window on the top to look at the aperture, it's a nice touch, but honestly it's really small and it's kind of hard to see. I mean, you're not going to see it here in the video anyway, but it's so small, it's really difficult for me to see, and it's not backlit, so it's kind of impossible for me to read inside. And you know, again, it's just small. It's not very high contrast. You just can't really see it well. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me that it's there. You know, it's nice, but kind of hard to see, so I don't really use it that much. And I do, again, like that they have a dedicated video and photo mode, and it remembers the settings between the modes, just like the Z50. Now, there's some things in here that this has that the Z50 doesn't, like I mentioned, the newer focus modes, and it's more in line with the Z6 and Z7 really, as far as the functionality, which I really like. So it's like $1,000, so what is it, $1,100 I guess with the lens. So, and it's still, you know, a lot of people that don't normally buy cameras, you know, think that's still a lot of money. But for what this is, it's, you know, I think, you know, a pretty good deal, and maybe even a bargain. But, you know, again, it's really good quality build. I really love it, and I don't really have too much to say more about it really. You know, there's tons of reviews out there about it already, and it's more or less a Z50 as far as functionality, but it does have, you know, some other features that the Z50 was left out of, like I said, like the extra focus modes, and does have the articulating screen that goes out and flips all the way around, and you can charge it through the USB cord and power the camera when it's, you know, it's not just charging it through the USB cord. You can actually turn the camera on and have a USB cord plugged in and be powering it that way. I believe you probably still have to have a battery inside, even if the battery is mostly drained. And then the other thing was, what was something I just thought of during that as I was saying that. But Oh, well, and it's got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability for remote control and downloading pictures. And there's no headset jack, but I don't, do any vlogging like that where I care about listening to my audio. The other thing I was going to say is they do actually include a battery charger with this. I don't have it with me, but Sony, for example, on the A6100, they don't include a battery charger. You just get a USB cord, and you have to plug the camera into a power source and charge it that way. I'm just checking my time here, so I better wrap this up. But this is the Peak Design leash strap, just so you know. It's a nice small strap, kind of appropriate for this. And again, really easy to take off, with these little buttons here. So there's that, and just finally just wanted to show the box that it comes in, because it does come in a really pretty little gray box. Sort of a gray silver. I got this at B&H Photo. I wasn't going to buy one, but they said they were going to be out of stock as soon as they hit the shelves, or hit the stores. But it was in stock for a few days at least, maybe almost a week. When I went and looked, and they had one, I was like, well, I like it enough. I'll just buy that and sell my A6100. And with a little bit of money that I already had saved and selling the A6100, I ended up with I still had a couple $100 left over. With the money I already had saved, I think I had $400 or whatever, and then I sold the A6100. So anyway, so now I have a ZFC, a Z5, which is recording this, and the original Nikon Z7, which I bought in 2018, which I really don't have any interest in replacing right now. It's a great camera. The image quality is outstanding in that camera. The features that it offers and the autofocus performance for what I need and everything else, it's just, it's still current and definitely modern, and just a, outstanding camera. It's super comfortable to hold. It's just very well built. It's a great camera, great lenses for this system, and that's about all I've got to say about it. So thanks for stopping by and watching this. And there have been a few people that saw a comment on my website about my son, and so thank you for anybody that's had kind words about that. I really appreciate that. It's been a mess. It's some of what happened is, I think, could be related to current events, so I don't really want to get into that, about why I think he has what he has, and had to have his large intestine removed. So that's all the detail I'll give about that, but I don't want to get into a debate about what actually caused the problem. But there's only one thing that lines up with the timing of the problem, and he's never had any problems before. 0 problems with any kind of ulcerative colitis, which is what they said he had. Never had any symptoms or signs of symptoms about that. But anyway, that's it. So this is my Nikon ZFC, and I do love it, and it's a great camera. I carry it around with me at work, when I go travel somewhere for work, or it's so small, I just put it in my backpack that I use for work, which is basically a laptop backpack, and the other things that I need for work, the power supply for the laptop, a mouse, that sort of thing, various USB cables and whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day.